everyone. Welcome to the first Q&A stream of the 2026 F1 fantasy season. I am so happy to be back for another year of content. I hope you guys will join me as we try to win all our mini leagues, finish as high up the global ranking as possible, and just in general have a grand old time playing F1 fantasy. It's time to get down to it. We are less than 6 hours away from FP2 or FP1 starting, and we will get some actual data for F1 Fantasy. On the screen right now is my link and my code to join my league. Join my league. I think there's about 1,100 of us in there. Let's get that up. Let's get that up. We need more members in there. In general, kind of low numbers for the game a little bit so far this season, but don't worry about that. So I'm going to leave this on the screen for 5 minutes and we are going to get into some questions. We've got Nixie in the chat. We've got Tommy in the chat. We've got Mac Attack. Michael's here watching on mute. Need to attend an HR meeting. Shh. I'll watch the Bottas flip-flop moves. Benods, we are so back. Very excited to see the cars on track. I literally took leave to have a long weekend. Wow, that is some commitment. Benods, I love that. I love that. I will be up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning to watch FP2, and I will do my final thoughts episode right after that before I go to work. And then I'll probably be tweeting nonstop throughout the rest of the day. So make sure you follow me on X, Blue Sky, Threads, TikTok, Instagram, at F1 Fantasy UN, and subscribe here at F1 Fantasy Pole Position. So make sure you are liking all these videos and subscribing to the YouTube channel. Who else we got? We got Kieran in here. What are your thoughts on Leclerc, Antonelli, Bortoleto, Ocon, Behrman, Ferrari, Haas? I think I like that, Kieran, because that's what I've got as my T1 right now. Here are my 3 teams on the screen right now. And yeah, that is about as very templatey. I like Bortoleto. I think as of right now, T1 feels very good. Let's get into it a little bit here. Leclerc, Antonelli, Ocon, Behrman, Ferrari, Haas, 2.4 million in the bank. Actually, if you take out Colpin, you got 8.6 million left in the bank. So where are you going? What are we doing with this 8.6 million? We're not doing Lance Stroll. We've already got both Haas guys. So then we're really just figuring out which of these guys we like the most. Do we like Nico Hülkenberg? Do we like Liam Lawson? Do we like Gabriel Bortoleto, Arvid Lindblad, Colpinto, or the Cadillac duo? And you know what, Kieran? Let's figure this out. Let's get a poll started. The first poll of the Australian Grand Prix Q&A. So, which sub 7 million option do you like the most? We will go with Hülkenberg, Lawson, Bortoleto, and then I will add in, I guess I'm going to have to duo this, Lindblad slash Colapinto, because they don't allow me to do 5 options. So I can only do 4. So first poll of the preseason. Let's see. Will is in the chat. Hey all, a pole sitter. Don't forget that you too can be a pole sitter. You can sign up for the YouTube membership. You can get in on the prize leagues, which are about to start. So whoever is not in the prize league and is a pole sitter, you got to get to it. But yes, if you want more loosey-goosey maths, you can sign up for the YouTube membership program. $5 a month, exclusive episodes, Discord, early access to videos, all that fun stuff. So if you are wanting to support F1 Fantasy Pole Position that little bit more as the season starts, as I try to wiggle in my chair a little bit, that would be greatly appreciated. Yash is in the chat. Hey, bud, hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Nixie says, I will be up at 2. Jeez. For FP1? I think what I'm going to do is FP2, 6 o'clock in the morning, FP1 at lunchtime, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm hoping just watching FP2, I'll catch up on FP1 through the commentary, context, all that stuff, but dedication. But not saying please remember to like the stream, everyone. Let's get that number up. Yes. Also, you and I took leave because I needed a break already. It just happens to coincide. There we go. Okay, that's even better. Get some mental health done and watch some F1. Who else have we got? Hey guys, says Michael, another pole sitter. Pole sitters all over the chat tonight. You could be one of them as well, like I just mentioned. FPL76755. What do you think of a plan of switching off Russell and Haas to RB and a lower priced driver for sprint in China? So are you saying, I guess it depends on what your back markers are, but in general, I think if you're comfortable, FPL76755, using your 2 free transfers in China or your wild card if things go not according to plan, then that's fine. Go with that. Follow the plan. However, things could go awry. It's DNF season. It's going to be DNFs all over the place. So just be prepared to pivot. You might have to activate that wild card early. We all might be activating our wild card this time next week for the Chinese Grand Prix. Also, did I spell Australian wrong? Australian. I can't tell. I hope I didn't because I've spelled it about 17 million times this week. Let's see here. Colapinto says, Michael, curious who everyone thinks will get pole for this weekend. Will Ferrari have a good weekend? But FPL 76755, I think it's fine. I don't really love booking in transfers to begin the year. I'm trying to figure out a way to have 3 free transfers as soon as possible for Japan. If I, let me see here. What's going on here with my camera? Okay, that's a little bit better. So I think I would prefer to not book in transfers, and I'm trying to go with a lineup that I feel comfortable with rolling for a couple of weeks. And this is a lineup I feel quite comfortable with. Charles Leclerc, Kimi Antonelli, Ferrari, Triple Haas. I was on BoxBox F1 Fantasy's channel yesterday. I think that episode is maybe coming out tonight or tomorrow. And I was kind of hating on Esteban Ocon, but then the more I think about it, if we go to the statistics on f1fantasytools.com, where you can get 50% off your first month with promo code POLE50. And they have all these tiers with all these options. So if you sign up now, you will be good to go there. Let's see. I'm really trying to figure out this camera. All right. So let's zoom in here. Esteban Ocon, qualifying position in 2025. Where are you at, Esty? Esty Bestie. 1, 2, 3 times this guy made it into Q3. And how many overtakes or positions gained did he have? He's up there. Oh, this is sprint. I don't want sprint. I want regular. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4th in positions gained throughout the season. If that Haas, that Ferrari power unit is as good as it is supposed to be, I'm really bugging out about my camera here. I am very interested in keeping Esteban Ocon. I was kind of worried that he might be the weak link in this Haas triple up, but I don't feel that bad at all. Let's check out the results of the poll so far. Hulkenberg or Lindblad / Colapinto, 42%. So maybe I'll just narrow that out. Lawson, 12%, Borletto, 17%, and Hulkenberg, 29%. There's a lot of love for Nico Hulkenberg kind of developing late in the preseason, it feels like. I haven't really been hit by the Cupid for Nico Hulkenberg yet, but we'll see what FP1 and FP2 brings. Also drink. We're all taking a drink. Anytime I say, it depends on free practice. So there's one. We could be well and truly hammered by the end of the stream. All right, let's get into the chat a little bit here. No one wants to look at my lineup. No one cares. So if you want to join my league, the code and the link is on there. So let's get into these questions here. Split. They're just the same price, Michael. That's why I went there. So I did what I had to do. What do you think of Russell, Leclerc, Behrman, Colapinto, Perez, Ferrari, Racing Bulls? I don't love Perez a lot, but you are getting Russell and Leclerc, which is really nice. Really, really nice. That could be autopilot worthy, although I probably would just stick it on Russell and see what happens. But Racing Bulls is a fine budget building option. We can go to the budget builder on F1 Fantasy Tools. As you can see here, I'm not a odds person. I am a required points person. 8 points for 0.6 rise. They do have a rookie on the grid. and Liam Lawson. So it's probably like one of the worst driver lineups on the grid. Is that fair to say? I think it's fair to say. So I don't love that, but it's fine. I prefer Haas for just 1.1 million more. Nixie says, with these sub 7 million options, you want them to qualify low. So during practice, I will keep an eye out during practice. Yeah, Esteban Ocon is one of those options like we talked about. Sherbrooke said, what is up? It's 3:30 a.m. here. I love the dedication, Sherbrooke. Thank you, thank you. Clocks change in the US Sunday a.m., so sleep will suffer all weekend. Ouch, says Michael. So you guys are springing forward. Okay, I need to know that because I talk to my family once a week. So it'll be different times for that. Aston Martin drivers were chewing multiple pieces of gum at the same time during testing to act as a mouthguard and help cope with the car's vibrations. Yes, if you have not heard, Aston Martin is pretty much locked in. All of their assets will score at least -20 this weekend, if not worse. So I would avoid Aston Martin at all costs. Michael says, what about your lineup but sub out Piastri for Kimi gambling on driver of the day if McLaren looks decent? If McLaren looks decent, yes. All these lineups right now, they could all change by this time tomorrow. By the time in 12 hours, you guys can watch my final thoughts episode, my practice reactions episode. And all three of these lineups could be totally different. We could be rocking triple Red Bull for all I know. But as of right now, these are kind of the lineups that I like in F1 Fantasy. Back to the questions. Trying to spread out the risk with different teams for 1A driver plus 2 constructors or vice versa. Wise, considering all 3 teams are eligible for the global prizes this year, Cherrybrook, I think that is a wise strategy. Maybe you don't want to go all in, or maybe you want to try and win all 3 prizes. But regardless, I think spreading your eggs is a pretty good strategy, at least in constructions amongst your 3 lineups. I wouldn't go all in. That's just how I am. Bernard says, I better grab some water or else my liver might not survive. Yes. Now that Bottas is no longer receiving a 5-grid penalty, do we bring in Perez or an alternative? I'm still not sold on Perez. I was only going with Bottas for that 5-place grid penalty and the guaranteed, okay, I guess not guaranteed, but highly, highly, highly likely fact that he was going to start 22nd on the grid behind an Aston Martin or 2 Aston Martins and pretty much be locked into at least 2 points gained. If we go back to the budget builder, that would just leave him needing 4 points over the course of a race. Maybe he gets lucky and he would go up 0.2 million. And that's all we could ask. Even talking about it now, it may have been a little bit hopeful to even think that Bottas could get to 6 points, but it gave him a better leg up. And he was an enabler, 5.9 million, very cheap, allowed a lot of flexibility in our lineups. So I posted a TikTok earlier today, which is hilarious because 2 days ago, I posted a TikTok saying that Valtteri Bottas is a must-have in F1 Fantasy because he has a 5-place grid penalty. And then today, I posted one that says Valtteri Bottas is no longer an F1 Fantasy option because he does not have his penalty. That does not matter to the tiki-talkers of the world because I'm just getting yelled at in both videos. Like, he's not must-have. He doesn't have the grid penalty. Hey, man, he doesn't have the grid penalty anymore. You're an idiot. And I'm like, all right, cool. Just responding to everyone being like, I made a video. I said this in an old video. It's fun. The internet is fun sometimes. But yes, I prefer Lindblad, Colapinto, Bortoletto as alternatives if you can get up there. Hello, 55. If you start with a B tier constructor, are you confident running them in a sprint? Have you decided on team structure? I'm not super confident in running them in a sprint, but that might just have to be what I do. So I think having the B tier constructor gives you more flexibility than having 2 tier A constructors and it all going wrong. I think you'll be in a better spot if it all goes wrong with 2 tier A drivers and 1 tier A constructor compared to the other way around. That's just my general thoughts right now with 36 hours to go until the deadline, 34 hours to go. Oh wait, I have the timer on the screen right above my head, 33 hours and 15 minutes to go. That is my general thoughts right now. What's your team, brother? Asked Psyshock. This is my T1 squad. These are my three teams right now. So Leclerc, Antonelli, Ocon, Behrman, Colapinto with Ferrari and Haas. Team 2, F2 fantasy pole position is Russell, Behrman, Ocon, Gasly, Bortoleto with Mercedes and Haas. And then T3 is Verstappen, Leclerc, Behrman, Colapinto, Lindblad with Ferrari and Racing Bulls. That team has 0.1 left in the bank. So no wiggle room there to move up to Haas. Unless I got rid of Behrman and moved down to another sub 7 million option, then we could talk about it. I think it would have to be probably no more. I need 1 million, so it has to be 7.4. So it had to be Gabby Bortoleto down there with Ollie Behrman instead of Haas. So those are my three teams right now. But thank you for the question. And thank you for joining the chat, Syshock. Do you prefer Lindblad, Lawson, or Bortoleto? Honestly, I think those are three of the assets I have thought about the least in the preseason right now. And looking at the poll here, which sub 7 million option do you like the most? Hulkenberg, 35%, Lindblad / Colapinto, 31%, Bortoleto, 21%, and Lawson, 12%. So it's all over the place, but pretty mixed. So Hulkenberg is going to get the win here with Lindblad and Colapinto in second. Going to move on to another poll now. Will you play the autopilot chip this weekend with 2 Tier A drivers? Because I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about the autopilot a little bit. Yes, no. Let me know in the poll what you are thinking here. All right, let me catch up to this because y'all are going to blow up and I'm going to fall behind as per usual. Sadly, it is fair to say. Oh, damn. I hate that. No more grid penalty for Bottas. Yes, I should take a drink every time someone tells me that too. Do you think Aston Martin qualified last 2 or can Cadillac still be behind? It's so tough to say, Nixie. We'll know by FP2 tomorrow. Drink. And it'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see what we get in the FP2 times. Even if Bottas, I think maybe if Bottas even finishes ahead of them, he's probably not going to score less than 0 points because it's like Aston Martin is going to eventually fall behind. Maybe he has a bad start, even with the Ferrari power unit, and he still gets those points later when he finishes 20th instead of 21st or 22nd. But 6 points, like now that you're looking at it and you don't know for sure he's going to finish or qualify last, 6 points is a lot for a back marker, let alone the risk of a DNF for him as well. So not something I am super in love with there, mate. It's Hammering Time says, I would not avoid Aston for anti-fantasy league. Yes, I know Zach GP is doing one. I don't know the code for it, but go hit him up on X or TikTok or his YouTube channel, and I'm sure he's touting his anti-F1 fantasy league. That could be a little bit of fun. I don't understand why we shouldn't get 3 Tier A drivers instead of 2 Tier A constructors. If you do 3 Tier A constructors running Grab It, I would definitely play the autopilot chip this weekend. Do you think that Aston Martin can be a must-have later in the season at some point? The vibes are awful at Aston Martin right now. They're already talking about how like Adrian Newey joined in March and then they had to scrap all of the air tunnel or the wind tunnel stuff they had done by the time he got there. And if this is where they're at, they were only 3 months behind, but they might be a year behind now. Like if the Honda engine isn't meshing with the car, they haven't figured this out after 9, 10, 11 months of work. That means they're 9, 10, 11 months behind before they can even get to where teams are right now with a functioning car. So for this season, I highly doubt Aston Martin is going to be competing for top 5s or podiums. Maybe they can start getting in the points if other teams falter or find something, or if this whole like engine catch-up kind of rule that they have in F1 right now, they get a couple of upgrades and things look better for them. Maybe one of my bold predictions is that Aston Martin had 0 podiums in the first half of the season and 5+ podiums in the back half. Feeling real good about that first bold prediction that they're going to be 0 podiums in the first half for Aston Martin. but I still don't think it's in my thoughts right now that Aston Martin will be in my F1 fantasy team for the 2026 season. Is McLaren with Ferrari constructors being slept on? Most Mercedes and Ferrari lineups need to have both the Cadillac drivers. I think that going with the McLaren Ferrari, because of how expensive McLaren is anyway, they're 0.4 less than Mercedes. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri both came out today in Media Day and said, don't expect us to win this race. We're not where we are last year. However, we back the team to get to where we were last year at some point this year. So it sounds like it's going to be a slow burn for McLaren to get back to the dominance of the 2025 season. But they both say that they believe in the direction of the project, where it's going. I think it would be a good weekend if a McLaren gets on the podium. Actually, I think it would be a great weekend if a McLaren gets on the podium. I think it's realistic that they are maybe looking at P4 to P7 this weekend. And that's just not what you want from a constructor that costs 28.9 million. So that's why I think McLaren is being slept on, but I think they're being slept on for a reason, Tactical Whiffs. M.97 says, hi, you, and there's going to be many thousands of shrimps on the barbie on the grill this weekend. How do you feel about 5 straight line modes for this circuit? Honestly, I have no idea, M. Let's see. All I know is that the energy harvesting requires heavy braking zones, and Australia doesn't have a lot of those. So it's going to be interesting to see engine deployment or energy deployment, energy harvesting, energy management. That is hopefully not going to dampen the mood of F1 being back, that we're just talking about battery power the entire time. But we'll see. It's the first race of these new regs. So I don't really know how I feel about 5 straight line modes. To be determined. Sorry, mate. I wish I could help out. Does this mean passing is generally expected to be higher here than other circuits? No, because as I had in a tweet at one point, let me find it here. Let me find the tweet that I had earlier this week. So many Twitters going around this week. I had it, I think it was yesterday, right? I was talking about Albert Park. Goodness gracious, where is it? There's my stupid Lance Stroll tweet. Oh, here it is. Okay. Stupid Lance Stroll tweet, by the way, is that Lance Stroll and Lando Norris are the only 2 drivers to finish in the top 6 of every Australian Grand Prix over the last 3 years. So here's what I had yesterday. Albert Park Circuit is tied 22nd for overtakes over the last 4 seasons. As a result, qualifying will be extremely important to open the F1 fantasy season. We usually get a good look at those simulations in FP2. In 2022, the free practice 2 top 3 was Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz. The race top 3 was Leclerc, Perez, Russell. The quality top 3 was Leclerc, Verstappen, Perez. 2023, FP2, Alonso, Leclerc, Verstappen. Quali was Verstappen, Russell, Hamilton. Race was Verstappen, Hamilton, Alonso. 2024, Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz. Quali was Verstappen, Sainz, Perez. And the race was Sainz, Leclerc, Norris. Verstappen DNF'd in 2024. 2025, FP2 was Leclerc, Piastri, Norris. Quali was Norris, Piastri, Verstappen. And the race was Norris, Verstappen, Russell. And we know that Piastri spun out. So what we see in FP2 tomorrow is going to be mighty important. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of overtaking, even with these new regs, just because in general, it doesn't really work. Interesting for me, Bortoleto and Lawson need the same points for a price rise as Bottas. Yeah, because it's so early in the season, Nixie, it's all bunched together. There's really not a lot of difference going on. Pemer 18 says, my concern about Haas, I think they will qualify too high compared to last year. They won't get as many overtakes. What are you thinking? I think I talked about Ocon only had 3 Q3 appearances last year. I don't think he's getting better. So I think it's also harder to get to Q3 because you got to get through 12 drivers to get through to Q3 rather than just the 10 that has been in previous seasons. So one of my bold predictions for Haas was that Esteban Ocon does not make Q3 the entire season. Let's see. Thoughts on using the 3X? Do not use the 3X right now. No. Save it for a sprint, mate. Save it for a sprint, Ian. If week 1 goes well, Limitless on Beijing or Suzuka? Too risky this early in a season in new regs, says Michael. I was talking about this on Box F1 Fantasy last night. There is a non-zero chance where I play autopilot this week, no negative in China because I'm worried about the wear and tear on these new cars, and they have one practice session to set up for a sprint quali, a qualifying, and a Grand Prix. We saw what happened to Ferrari last year in China, and that was after 4 years of knowledge with these regs. So I don't know what's going to happen with one race and one practice session worth of regs. So there is a chance I play no negative in China. And then Japan is a really good track for Limitless. So there is a non-zero chance that I play 3 chips in the first 3 weeks in F1 Fantasy, which you would get really good odds in Vegas of that happening. But crazier things have happened. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. Jables is in the chat. Hello, everyone. Mark Johnson is in the chat. Ferrari hoping in full supply to start the season. Yes, yes, yes. Pole sitters. If you want to join them, get in the YouTube membership program and join the channel. All right. You won't run any tier A, 2 tier A. I might. I just, for right now, I'm not there. Every time I get to the 2 tier A constructors, I just hate the way it looks, because every time it has to be Leclerc and all the bottom of the barrel units. It has to be all of these drivers that terrify me. Bottas, Perez, Colapinto, and Lindblad. I guess I can go up from Colapinto or Lindblad to Lawson or Bortoletto, but that's it. Even if I go from Mercedes down to Red Bull, it doesn't save me that much money. I guess I can get Lawson, or I can get Behrman instead of Lawson, but that just doesn't feel great. Like, it feels so trapped. And all of these back market, if you have the 4 lowest assets in the game and 2 of them drop, where are you going? That's the thing. If you have these tier A drivers, if you have 2 tier A drivers, you have 2 cash cows. It's kind of like an FPL. If you started with Sala and Holland, if they tear up their knee in the first game of the season, you have so much money to spread amongst the rest of your team to fix any holes that you may have missed. And that's kind of how I feel with the tier A drivers as well. So I can't say I won't, but right now I'm leaning no. But like I said, let's take a drink beforehand. Depends on what happens in FP2. All right, back to the chat. Audi will be my most interested watch during free practices. Yeah, all the content I've been listening to this week on the F1 side, like the race, late braking, Matt and Tommy, stuff like that. Everyone is kind of interested in Audi, and they've kind of been off of my radar. So I agree with you, Michael. I need to kind of get in on that as well. Lawson home Grand Prix, maybe I'll consider. Home-ish, because he's a Kiwi, right? So depends which 2 drivers, says Nixie. Autopilot right now. Will you play the autopilot this chip this weekend with 2 tier A drivers? No is leading with 63%. So you guys are not about that life right now. There's 80 of you watching, so when I get off this stream in 30 minutes, I'm hoping there's at least 50 of you that have hit the like button, because that is the smallest token of appreciation that y'all can give me. And it's free. You don't have to pay anything. You just have to hit that thumbs up button, and it helps so much. It helps so much, guys. I promise I'll still answer your questions. I would just love to get the thumbs up. That's all I'm asking for, just that little thumbs up. FPL Daxter, long time no chat, amigo. Hi, Ewan. Excited for the new season. Tinkering with my teams as we speak. Second ever season, going hard this time. Let's go. Hopefully you will be in the chats all season long. Trying to spread out the risk with different teams for 1 A driver plus 2 A constructors or vice versa. Wise? I mean, as you can see right now, I'm not on any of those builds. Doesn't mean I won't be by the time we lock this team in 33 hours, but it is what it is. There's no more grid penalty for Bottas. Drink up. M-Dot, stop. I have to make it to the end of the stream. I'm going 2A drivers across 2 teams and likely autopilot this week or next, says Michael. I like it, Michael. Will there be a 3 million value driver? Stroll would have to go down 8 times in a row. I think it's going to happen. I shall 2x Stroll, says Nixie. Okay. Okay, Nixie. Whatever you say. Given that the budget floor is now 3 million, we should be able to afford better teams later on, which could be better use of autopilot. Not a bad shout, but right now it's a lot of uncertainty. Also, the autopilot chip does cover you in case, like, hopefully this never happens, but both of your tier A drivers go out and then there's a wacky result where like a B tier, like a Bearman or a Colapinto ends up on the podium and you're like looking at a 45-point day. So you never know. That's also an insurance chip. Formula Fantasy Hub was saying that in his final thoughts episode today. Is holding extra cash wrong for the first race? 6 million too much? That seems a little bit high, Running Rabbit. But I guess it kind of depends what you could move up to. If you feel comfortable with it, it's fine, because you'll definitely be okay for China. Doesn't make sense to sub in Racing Bulls and Lindblad/Lawson instead of the triple Haas just to leverage the fields. It's the first race of the season. I don't think you need to play the leverage game right now, Anub. You know what I mean? Like, if we're looking at like the last 5 races and you just want to make a differential because you're trying to climb up your leaderboards, sure, but it's race 1. Like, you can't win F1 Fantasy in the first week, but you can certainly put a huge dent in it. A lot of us had very bad weekends in Australia, and a lot of us recovered. But part of me is also thinking, what could have been if we did not have the Australian Grand Prix in our resumes for the 2025 season? All right, so it is 9 o'clock, and yesterday, 2 days ago, I asked for y'all's hot takes. So I'm going to debut this new segment for Thursday nights, and I hope this doesn't blow your eardrums out because I have already balance the audio. So let me know in the chat if I have given you ear damage from this. So let's see how this goes. All right. All right. So I asked F1 Fantasy Hot Takes. I need your hot takes for the Australian Grand Prix. I'll select the best ones and discuss them on my Thursday night Q&A stream. The hotter the better. So bring the heat. And Blue Sky let me down. Threads let me down. You guys on X, you know who you are. You came through. And that's why X is a superior platform, even though it's run by an evil mastermind. All right, Box F1 Fantasy was the first one out of the gates. We will include Aston Martin's assets in our teams by race 12. Give me a 1 in the chat if you agree with these hot takes and a 2 if you disagree. That's all you got to do. We're going to grade these hot takes. Do you think is it hot and do you agree with it? 1 for you if you agree, 2 if you disagree. Let's see what we got here. Mamma mia. Y'all are blowing up the chat. I love it. Thank you. Everyone is here. No one is typing 1 or 2. You guys are not playing the game. Okay, there we go. Mobat9785 says 1. MDOT says 2. Okay, here we go. 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, we got more agrees than disagrees. I didn't repeat my Stroll beats Hamilton take this time, says Michael. Yeah, we'll be walking that one back, Michael. 1 says Michael. Okay, lots of people agreeing with this. So Box F1 Fantasy, good job by you. Next up, we've got Nixie. Nixie, where are you at? I want to see you in the chat. He's got 2 hot takes. Lewis will be the highest scoring driver for the Australian Grand Prix. Ooh, bold move. Teams with fast pit stops will be even better this year and should be more in consideration. This is because the cars are lighter and smaller, along with the fact the tires are lighter by a fair amount. So Ferrari, is that what we're saying, Nixie? We love us some Ferrari. Like I said, 1 in the chat if you agree, 2 in the chat if you disagree with these hot takes. While you guys are doing that, we can go look at the statistics from last year and see who was the best pit stop team in F1 Fantasy. Pit stop points, where are you? Why can I not? Oh, here we go. Overall fastest pit stops. Ferrari did it 9 times out of 24 races. Red Bull, another 6. McLaren only 5, Kick Sauber, now Audi 2, and Racing Bulls 2. So Mercedes, Williams, Haas, Aston Martin, and Alpine did not record the fastest pit stop at all. And then if we go to fantasy points, and we can just do fantasy point types, I'm going to remove all and just put in the fastest pit stops. I think that's all of them. Ferrari averaging 8.9, Red Bull 8.8. So if you like those strong pit stop points, Ferrari and Red Bull is where you should be looking. So let's see. All right, we got some agreements here. 1-1-1-1, 2 times the NF for the first 12 races, says MDOT. No sponsors, so green shirt will be on clearance, LOL. Yes, says Nick. Nixie is ready to get his hot takes. 2-1-2-2. What's up, mate? How do you... Oh, here you go. What's up, Erden? Nice to see you. 2-1, 2-2, 1.5. Funny thing, but I actually asked ChatGPT today to give me predictions for the weekend. The predicted fastest pit stop came from Red Bull. Interesting. Matt Hav says, how about Russell, Leclerc, Colapinto, Lawson, Behrman, Ferrari, and Racing Bulls? That's like a little bit like top heavier version of my T1 team right now, Matt Hav, and I don't hate it. I'm not a huge Racing Bulls person right now. All right, thank you, Nixie, for your hot takes. Much appreciated. Muncie PD, another pole sitter. By race 5, everyone will be calling Ford to sign up for their power unit. What do people think? Do we think Red Bull secretly has the best power unit in F1? Could they be what everyone needs for the 2027 season? Kind of get freaked out saying the 2027 season. That seems so far in the future. But it's not that far. And that is terrifying. All right, let me see here. While you guys fill up the chat, I'm just going to verbally answer some questions. All right, Charbrook says, did they price Williams and AM thinking they'll bring some upgrades at some point? If they price them lower, then they'd be a bargain. I agree. Bro's cat is screaming. Yes, my cat is not a happy chappy that I am not in bed watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine with him and my wife. So that's the sacrifices I'm making to be up with y'all, Adam. I hope you guys appreciate it. Hydra's interview was weird. Looked like he revealed something, or is he just putting things out there to get hopes up? Oh my goodness. Nixie, this is such a great shout because Hajar, I'm not sure if I can show the interview on YouTube. And I don't want to get banned, so I won't. But he was like a kid that knew where all his Christmas presents were. He was like going side to side. He couldn't stop smirking. He was like trying to cover his face, like he had done something bad. And I was just picturing the Red Bull PR team being like, oh no. Now, either Hajar is trying out for the 2027 Oscars, or he is the F1 version of Tom Holland and he can't keep a secret. And I'm starting to think it's going to be the latter. So Red Bull is on my list of teams to watch tomorrow, because if Hajar has kind of given away the gambit, we could be steamrolling into so much Red Bull. Mark Johnson saying, F1 Fantasy pole position. Paddock members, make sure to like and subscribe to the stream. It takes 2 seconds and helps you and the channel out tremendously. Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate it. Nixie says 25% chance of rain for qualifying. Anura Ketin says, hey, Ewan, if you were to make 3 teams, all to have max points, how would you go about the team builds for all 3? If I was going max points, I probably would go 2 tier A constructors. We can go to the F1 Fantasy Tools. We can do all this stuff, all this fun stuff. The best team right now they have on there is Mercedes Ferrari with Charles Leclerc and Bottas, Colapinto, Lawson, and Perez. I just don't love it. I love it for points. Don't get me wrong. But if we're talking about, like, if we add a filter in here, right? If we do points, expected points, we do 150. Whoa, what the heck was that? 150. Apply filters. And then we go budget building. Ferrari, Haas, Leclerc, Antonelli, Behrman, Ocon, Bottas. I love that team. And what is that? 14 less points for 0.8 million more in the simulations? Like, that's going to be bumped up in real life. So that's why I prefer that team with the Ferrari Haas kind of combo. Because even if you go by expected points, that Ferrari Haas team, it doesn't take too long. Oh, I've done it now. Well, whenever I did it earlier, it was like 7th. I don't know what I've done now, but so once again, technology has gotten the better of me there. All right. What have we got? Casper says, well, my question got answered. Hey, Ewan, excited for a whole no Leclerc plus Mercedes / yeah, there we go. Yes. All right. So where did we go? Where did we end up? Zig, Muncie. I didn't actually see the chat. I didn't see what people thought about your hot take. Where did we go? Where did we go? I think, okay, not a 1, 2, especially if you're Hadjar. 2, this is my first ever. Your videos really help. Appreciate it, Matt Have. You're very welcome, Matt Have. Is that a hot take or a drunk take? Hey, we don't judge. We listen and we don't judge. Ravenko F1 says, Audi will score a lot of points. That's your hot take for the Australian Grand Prix. 1 in the chat if you think Audi's going to score points in Australia. And then Sempty F1 says, both Haas drivers drop in price after week 1. And the race review becomes much must-watch F1 fantasy content because I will be head in hands. And don't forget, 1 hour after every Grand Prix this season, I'll be on YouTube going over the wins and the losses, and more likely the losses, after every Grand Prix. So both Haas drivers drop in price after week 1. I would not be a fan of that. Audi will score a lot of points. That'd be kind of interesting. And I feel like I would have missed the boat on Bortoleto and Hulkenberg. But thank you for the hot takes. That was much appreciated. I'm going to be doing that every week. So don't forget to bring the hot takes. And don't forget the schedule. We are T-minus 6 hours until practice 1. I will not be awake for practice 1. I'm making a promise to myself that I will not be awake for practice 1. I know that my brain is going to wake me up at 2:25. And 2:25 a.m., Ewan, may have different plans than 9:12 p.m., Ewan. But right now, of sound mind and body, I'm saying I'm not waking up for FP1, but I am waking up for FP2. Because I got to watch that. I'm not waiting all off season to not watch any of the free practice in the morning. So there we go with that. Something else I wanted to touch on was F1 Fantasy Tools just put out this fantastic thread on budget building. And I'm not going to go over all of it because you should go check them out. You should follow them. You should subscribe. Poll 50 for 50% off your first month right above my head right now. Use that code. Help me, help you. You know what I'm talking about? But just a fantastic thread talking about explaining what the algorithm is, how to master it, how to know everything about it, why some drivers are good picks, some drivers are bad picks, all that fun stuff. I'm going to put my league code. If you want to join my league, code is, goodness gracious. How do I, there we go. Code is right there. Go check it out. Join the league. Join the league. And also join the Rotoballer League because I am writing for Rotoballer again this season. They are a featured league. Where are they at? Where are we at? P1 with Matt and Tommy, the Fantasy Formula, Rotoballer, right here. Almost 2,500 teams. So let's get that going. Also, if you haven't set up your team yet, less than 1 million. What are we doing, guys? Come on. There's only 36 hours to go. 30 hours to go. I have the timer on the screen, Ewan. Why do I keep guessing the time? Even when I have the answer to the loosey-goosey math in front of me, I'm still doing the loosey and the goosey of the maths. Some things never change. Except y'all's support. Thank you, because it is growing. We're almost at 4,600 subscribers. Y'all are absolutely crushing it. And for the last 16 minutes of this episode, I'm doing nothing except answering your questions. So if you have a question, get it in the chat right now, and I will not leave until I have answered your question. So let's get to it. I'm going to scroll back up to where I missed the last question. And, oh God, that's a lot of questions. What have I done? 25% of rain for qualifying. Keeps an eye on it if it evolves. Still scarred. What do you think about Scouser 18926? What do you think about Verstappen, Kimi, Bottas, Lindblad, Colapinto, and Ferrari Haas constructors? I like almost all of that, except kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, but you can't really do anything with that because you have Max Verstappen. Having Max Verstappen in your F1 fantasy team is not a bad thing, so I like it. Triple Haas is scary. What even are the alternatives? You could try to figure out a way to get up to Alpine, but 12 million is such a weird price point that you may not have an alternative. Yo, just joined. What I missed? Quick summary. We out on Bottas? We are out on Bottas, Stefan. I am out on Bottas. I wouldn't say we. I don't want to speak for everybody, but if you go on my TikTok at F1 Fantasy U, and you can just watch people argue back and forth, where I have one video that says Valtteri Bottas is a must-have from a couple of days ago, and then from today's video where I say Valtteri Bottas is a must-avoid, and everyone is shouting at me in every video, and it is a ton of fun because it is blowing up. Yeah, whatever. Thoughts on Mercedes, Ferrari, Leclerc, Bottas, Colapinto, Lawson, Perez as a team? That's a lot of cheap assets that may not rise, and it could cost you a lot of budget. So I'm not a huge fan of that, Ian. Rob was suggesting no negative in autopilot for Australia, though. He was. I watched that episode already. Great episode, Rob. I forgot to text you. My bad. Will you play the autopilot chip this weekend with 2 Tier A drivers? Yes is 45%. No is 55%. All right. The final question. All right. Which Tier A constructor? No. Who will score the most F1 fantasy points? We're going with Russell. We're going with Verstappen. We're going with Leclerc. And we're going with maybe just other. Let's see. Who will score the most F1 5? Sorry, Russell, Verstappen, Leclerc, or other. There we go. All right. Back to it. I got to keep scrolling up because you guys are doing a great job filling up the chat. And I am already regretting 2A constructor, even worse now with the Bottas news. I agree, Nixie. And with 2 Tier A constructors, it's just not flexible enough, and you run the risk of 2 DNFs from the bottom 5 teams beside Colapinto, as you can't get Haas, Alpine, Williams overweight but pricey. Flexibility is key with the amount of uncertainty. I don't want to be forced into an early wildcard. Correct. Going George and Charles 2X, says Ollie. All right. How would you improve my team, says Carter. Let's see, Carter, where you at? Leclerc, Antonelli, Behrman, Ocon, Colapinto, Ferrari, Haas. The only way I would improve it, Carter, is by instantly giving you the title for F1 Fantasy 2026 champion, because it's a perfect team. So there you go. Russell, Hamilton, Colapinto, Bortoleto, Hulkenberg, Ferrari, Haas. Is this a worthy team? That is an interesting team. Hulkenberg, Bortoleto, Colapinto. You avoid all the very bottom of the barrel assets, so I don't mind that. Ferrari, Haas, Russell, Hamilton. I don't love Hamilton, but I think you would have to downgrade Colapinto to Bottas to go from Hamilton to Leclerc, and I think the difference between Colapinto and Bottas is going to be greater than the difference between Hamilton and Leclerc. So I like the team. I haven't really thought about that squad all that much, to be honest. But it is a worthy team. I'd give it a shout. Formula Fantasy Hub is in the chat. What is up, mate? Audi and McLaren, the most slept on assets, in my opinion. I agree with Michael. Yes. I just don't know if McLaren's going to have it this weekend. The vibes they were giving in, I got the little media day thing here. What did I say? Piastri saying it would be very optimistic to think they will be competing for the win. Norris is confident McLaren can get to where they want to be this season, but it didn't sound great for race 1. So that's what I saw in those racing interviews in the media day interviews for the McLaren duo. Back to the chat. Here we go. Rob is in the house, says Charbrook. Yes. Don't think they are overall, but in F1 Fantasy community they are. M. Dot says F1 Fantasy Tool is showing X points for Haas plus Ferrari teams only being 12, 13 points behind the Tier 2 Tier A. So that's pretty good compared to previous seasons besides SMR in 2023. I agree. I'm running one of my teams as 3A driver plus 2B constructors with autopilot, says Michael Fusco. Less points potential, but maybe okay on budget. Always fun to have an off-meta gamble. Nice. Everybody blowing up the chat for the hot takes. Once again, thank you to everyone that submitted a hot take. I'll be doing that every week, so hopefully you guys can bring the heat throughout the season. Erden, what is up? One of the loyal followers on, I think, almost every social media, Erden. Why are you so obsessed with me? Name that movie. My current team is Leclerc, Piastri, Behrman, Lindblad, Colapinto, Ferrari, Haas. Autopilot is on. For China, the plan is to drop Piastri to someone cheaper and Haas to Red Bull. What do you think about this strategy? Don't love locking in transfers like that, Erden, but if it works, it could work out very nicely. So fingers crossed that it does work out for you that way. Thoughts on Lawson, says Ollie B. Haven't been a huge fan of him. Rain Fantasy was kind of touting him a little bit today when I posted my meme about Mr. Franco Colapinto. Where is that? Goodness gracious, my face is massive on the screen when it's zoomed in like that. I can't wait to use... This is, honestly, this GIF of Kimi Antonelli doing this might be enough to lock him into my F1 fantasy team. Just doing this all season long. Every time. Just, like, give it to me right now. Let's see here. What else? Where was it? Oh, this is it. F1 fantasy managers, now that Valtteri Bottas isn't a great option for Australia. Oh, this is actually... there we go. Nope, there we go. This meme. This is what I think about Frank Colapinto. Fall in love with him very quickly in F1 fantasy. So that's where I'm at with Lawson. I just prefer Colapinto. Oh, why are we so against Bottas or Perez, still thinking these guys won't be last anyway? Even without the penalty, 3 points when Aston Martin goes out. However, but what if Cadillac can outqualify Aston Martin? Then it's no points, and we're losing 0.6 with the cheapest asset in the game. The 2 points was just a nice buffer to hopefully get to a price rise, Stefan. Now that buffer is totally gone. We may pick that buffer back up depending on what we see in FP2 tomorrow. So that's something to consider. We could be here in 12 hours when I post my final thoughts, my practice reactions episode, and I could be screaming from the rooftops that Valtteri Bottas is back on. I think I might blow up the TikTok algorithm if I post another pro Valtteri Bottas after posting a negative Valtteri Bottas after posting a pro Valtteri Bottas video. But, you know, that's good for the algorithm, so maybe I'll do it. But I think for right now, it's just there's better, like Colapinto feels more secure. I'm growing into a Bortoletto, a Lindblad, a Lawson, just thinking more and more about those. Now that Valtteri Bottas is off the table, there are other options that I have maybe been ignoring a little bit because I've been like, so like Valtteri Bottas, we don't have to worry about him. That's an option right there. If I need to be an enabler, we can just go there. So now that it's not there, it is, you just got to look at other options. Bold prediction, Alonso will be seen in a deck chair 5 times more than he wished for this season. What version of F1 Fantasy Tools should I subscribe to? What is necessary? That is a great question. They have their tiers, and do they actually explain it? There we go. So free is Team Calculator, simulations. Starter is nice because you can link your F1 Fantasy account. You get personalized team suggestions, special Discord, no ads. Pro, you get the league analyzer, season summary, real-time score updates for your teams and live scoring. Live scoring is really nice, guys. So, like, the 4.5, it's nice. It's very, very nice. The Pro Plus, I haven't figured it out yet. Find and link your rivals teams, track your rivals throughout all the tools. I'm thinking about putting other content creators on that just for the laugh of just like following them throughout the entire season, see what happens. So I think if you're an F1 fantasy nut like myself, or you're in a really competitive league, Pro Plus is probably going to be worth it. But Pro for sure, just for the live scoring, because the live scoring is just phenomenal on F1 Fantasy Tools. They absolutely crush it every single season. So use promo code PULL50 to save 50% off your first month. Tell them you know a guy. Definitely staying away from the Cadillac, says Captain Man Frog. Frogman. I don't think Fantasy Tools update Bottas DNF. It has not yet. You are correct, Michael. Fantasies Vush 2. If Red Bull is strong, are we doing Verstappen plus Hadjar plus Red Bull team? Highly likely that yes, we are steamrolling into Red Bull. My current team is Leclerc, Piastri, Behrman, Lindblad, Colapinto, Ferrari, Haas. Autopilot is... Oh, wait. I did that one, Erden. Thank you. Sorry. Points in real life or points in fantasy? Let's see here. Yeah, Nixie, it is early. Alex Albon went skydiving before the race. No, Ewan, you must stay positive and hopeful. That's true. Audi won't be scoring points, methinks, but we'll do better than what we thought they would. I agree. Why not have Colapinto instead of Bottas in the meta lineup? So Leclerc, Colapinto, Ocon, Kimi, Behrman with Ferrari and Haas. You mean like that lineup right there? Yes. I like it. I like it a lot. It feels comfortable. I think what is like in danger of happening is because that has been the template since the game launched, that people kind of start to overthink it or get a little bit bored, and we all make terrible decisions at 3 a.m. in the morning when we're setting our final lineups. So I'm just trying to stay the course. That's why I haven't really been fiddling with my teams too much, because I don't want that to happen where I'm like, wait, what was the good team? When I'm like, I have Saturday morning, I've got some coffee lined up, I've got a Red Bull lined up. Maybe that's a sign. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It also means a 2 a.m. deadline stream. Shh, don't tell my wife that, but we will be there. Boxbox says, I'm late, but I'm here, still editing our video you, and hopefully out in an hour or two. Okay, in an hour or two, go check out Boxbox F1 Fantasy. We had a great chat last night. Great to meet Quentin in person over the interwebs, one of the new content creators at F1 Fantasy. So definitely go check them out. 2 for the Haas drivers. Who shall predict is this one? Yes, he does. 6 hours from FP1, the season is actually here. I know, I'm so excited. Thoughts on my mid-tier lineup, Team 3, Verstappen, Sainz, Gasly, Colapinto, Bottas, McLaren, Haas. No Williams. Williams gets an automatic X from me. Family feud, family fortune style. Is it just one team we can put in your league? No, you can put all 3 teams in your league, Craig. Yep. The loosey-goosey math never stops. You will be awake early in the morning, wondering how many minutes until FP3 after you sleep in. I know. I think Colapinto is a trap. It's a trap, says Maddie. Why do you think he's a trap, Maddie? Let me know. Piastri, driver of the day candidate. Leclerc, Hulkenberg, Behrman, Colapinto, Ferrari, Haas as a way to avoid triple Haas and go with hometown boy? Yeah. I think the Piastri Leclerc is a really good autopilot lineup as well, if you want to do that. Nigel the Crab, what is up, Nigel? Long time no chit chat. Glad to have you back in the streams and the chat. Thank you for joining. Hello to you too. Hopefully you had a good winter. Running Rabbit says, I keep trying to build around Audi and Alpine. Verstappen ×2, Hamilton, Sainz, Hulkenberg, Behrman, 4.7 remaining. Ouch, just close. You can just be an accident prone because you got a better car. Colapinto is a trap. I finished top 1.2K last season, but this season is a beast to navigate with these prizes. It sure is, but I feel like we've been given a gift with Ferrari and Haas. McLaren, Norris, Piastri could be sleeper assets. What do you think? Yes, but the vibes I got from them in media day were... It's so funny because this time last year, everyone was thinking McLaren was like runaway favorite, and Lando and Oscar were just like, no, it's really close, like blah, blah, blah. And you know what? Lando won the championship by 2 points. So it was close, but for a long time, it was not. And now that they're like in 3rd and 4th, they're all like very positive. They're like, I don't think we're at where we need to be as a team right now. I don't think we're going to be competing for wins this weekend, maybe for the next few races, but I believe in the team and where we can like get to where we need to go. Like Lando seems so much more chilled now that he has number 1 on his car. So I have no doubt that at one point in the season, we will be looking at double McLaren, maybe triple McLaren, depending on how all the prices shake out, all the budget building goes. But for now, I'm just not so sure that McLaren is the way to go. It could be a fantastic differential. You got a couple of DNFs in the top 4 teams, and it could be Norris and Piastri's day. But I don't like betting on DNFs and stuff like that. And for now, vibes, before free practice, drink. I just think McLaren is a little bit on the outside looking in, especially at their price point as a constructor. They're 0.4 away from Mercedes. Doesn't Mercedes just feel a little bit safer? Don't you think they just feel a little bit safer? I do. Do you think Max is worth it despite George being less expensive and in a faster car? I'm a huge Max fan, but I don't know. It's not that big of a gap, though. What is it? 0.3 million. So if you believe in Max, you'll find 0.3 to make it work in your lineup. Sids, don't worry. How do you feel about driver of the day and fastest lap, each being worth 10 points in F1 Fantasy? I'm just going to drink, M. Just going to take a drink. That's all I can do. My grandma used to tell me, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. While you're completely switching away from 2A constructors in all 3 teams, As of right now, I am Sidzy, but you know what I mean. Like we are in 12 hours. Like I said, in 12 hours, I'm going to have my final thoughts, my practice reactions episode, and it could be totally different. So make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, which you obviously are because you're chatting in the chat. So thank you, Sidzy, for doing that. And like the video, hit the notification bell so you get my video as soon as it happens. And if you want to get your videos extra early, you can sign up for the YouTube membership because I give those guys early access. As a content creator, def get the plus. That would be great content. Yes, yes, it will be. If something does not change, doing 2x B constructor and a 3x driver with limitless in China, risk it for the biscuit. Pro Plus will likely expand to include predicting your rival's moves and indicate how you can counter. Oh, could you imagine? That would be amazing. Haha, I'm 100% tracking all the other content creators. Yes, I can't wait, Rob. I mean, we even have our content creator league, but it's just gonna be like fun being like, what do these guys do? I can't remember. Let's see here. What do we got? What do we got? Fantasy Content Creator League. There is one. Yes, yes. Maybe I'll ask the other ones. I don't know how everybody feels about it. I'll ask the little chit chat we've got going on, but see if people don't mind us sharing those results each week because that could be kind of fun. Jaume Tupa 7884 says, "What about Russell, Hamilton, Lindblad, Ocon, Bottas, Ferrari, and Haas?" Russell, Hamilton, Lindblad. Yeah. I mean, could you even? Yeah, I like that lineup, Jaume. That's good. Box Fantasy deserves more subs. He is awesome. I agree. In your T3, what's the logic for Arvid Lindblad? I only have 0.1 million, so I have to go there, and I don't want to go with Perez or Bottas. Frost Stormer. Oh, sorry, Frosty Stormer. You can drop that in the chat. Hi there. My first time here. Excited for my first fantasy year. Marcel. Welcome, Marcel. That would be thank you for subscribing and thank you for playing F1 Fantasy. It's going to be a fantastic year. Would you be interested in buying any of the McLaren drivers or the team? I think I just went over that, so hopefully I accidentally answered your question, Frosty, but in the future, yes. Right now, no, but take a drink before free practice. Hello, says PN816. I've got two lineups right now. Leclerc, Piastri, Behrman, Ocon, Colapinto with Ferrari and Haas, and Verstappen, Hamilton, Behrman, Lawson, Bottas with Ferrari and VCarb. Thoughts on each? I like the first one. I don't love Bottas. If you go Verstappen down to Russell and you elevate Bottas to Colapinto or Lindblad, I like that a lot more. What time is practice in UK time? 5 a.m. UK time tomorrow, Frosty. So there you go. My hot take is that McLaren made the championship that close. Sure, the crash in Canada didn't help, but no excuse for Las Vegas. Yeah, I agree. I'm quite certain I've asked you before, but have completely forgotten. So what kind of music do you listen to? You know, I'm a little bit of a music purist, Mac Attack. So I like all the classics. You give me some Miley, some Taylor, some Queen Bee, some early Katy Perry, some early Kesha, and you've got one F1 Fantasy content creator on the dance floor potentially tearing a bunch of muscles because I will be moving and shaking far too much for a man of my lifestyle and age. So yes, that is where I'm at. I feel like the midfield could be very crash happy until everyone's worked out these new cars. At least Stroll won't be there. Yeah, he'll be at the back and then he'll be in the garage. My first time on this stream, just joined. Thanks for all the help. You are welcome, Frosty. Thank you for joining. Where is Rob now? Spurs losing. I'm reporting Nixie for bully. Yeah, Nixie is a bully, Rob. You're right. It's offside by his face. Oof. Oh man, yes. You know, usually whenever Spurs come up in the live stream, there's about a bunch of like 12 Spurs fans, which may be the only 12 Spurs fans remaining in the world, but they always seem to pop up in this chat. Got it. Can I ask what's your hesitation with Cadillac at the moment? Just waiting to gauge where they're at. brand new team in F1. It's going to be so hard for them to make waves. It's honestly an achievement that they are here at the first race. Look at what Williams and Aston Martin have done this offseason. Cadillac, that should have been Cadillac. If that was Cadillac, we'd be like, it's a new team. It's okay. They can't make the first race, or they were overweight and they missed the shakedown. They didn't miss any of those like checkpoints and they crushed it. It's just so hard to come into F1 and make waves instantly. It's a brand new team, like not even just taking over for a team, brand new from the ground up. So if Bottas and Perez don't finish as the last two on track on Sunday, huge win. Michael says, those are the classics. Michael, I will not hear otherwise. Amazing, says Macatag. So Ewan, do you party like it's 2009? That is probably the last time I listened to music. I think my claim to hipster music fame is that the classic cliche of like, I was listening to the Arctic Monkeys and Franz Ferdinand and Kaiser Chiefs before they were popular. And that was really cool to say like 20 years ago. And now it just makes me sound really old. But those are probably the last like, oh, you have a little bit of taste in music bands that I remember listening to. And I still love the Arctic Monkeys. Still not as good. Nothing will ever touch the first album. Fantastic album. Honestly, my favorite album of all time is Arctic Monkeys' first album. But that's what it is. Their bangers all right. Yeah. You play Party in the USA, and there's a party wherever I'm at because I cannot resist dancing to that song. At the moment, I'm thinking Russell Leclerc, Lawson, Colapinto, Bortoleto teams, Ferrari and Haas. What do you think? That's an interesting little variation on the Ferrari Haas builds. I still don't love Lawson. Maybe Bortoleto. Oh, no, you got Bortoleto. Sorry. But yeah, overall, I kind of like that Hojo Gamer. Nice. I can't say much since my citizens couldn't manage a win against Forest. I mean, imagine if your team had an embarrassing result against a relegation squad this week. Couldn't be me as a Liverpool fan. Oops. Yeah, I guess so. Martin says, thoughts on budget building at the start to get 2 air constructors? Yep, Martin, I'm on board with that. Love that. Let me click this. Here we go. Where are we at? Thoughts on Antonelli, Russell, Bortoleto, Hulkenberg, and Leclerc, RB, and Audi. I don't think it's a great team. No good constructor. However, 3 high scorers. W stream, by the way. Thank you, Frosty Stormer -6. I appreciate that. Russell's nice. Leclerc is nice. Oh, is that Racing Bulls and Audi? I would probably, if you're going to go with a lineup like that, Frosty, I would go autopilot chip because you got 3 of those. Spurs now winning. Oh my goodness. It's a party in the USA. Classic TikTok. The song. Classic. Yes. Thank you, Macattack. That's what I'm talking about. What team do you support in football? I support United. Do watch Barca and Wrexham, my local team. Oh, nice. So Wrexham. Yeah, I mean, I spent 2 or 3 years in Chester, in a village in Chester called Tarporley. So I don't know if you know where that's at, Frosty Stormer, but yeah, in a bit of the area. At the moment, I'm thinking Russell, Leclerc, Lawson, Colapinto, Bortoleto teams, Ferrari, and Haas. What do you think? Oh, I just answered that, Hojo Gamer. Hopefully you were around for that. Being a local for Wrexham must have been awesome the past few years. Yes. Oh, look, here come the Spurs fans. Yeah, but Cadillac has deep 24 hours pedigree and can run cars long and fast, but it will translate. Hopefully it will translate eventually. I just don't think it's going to translate in the first race. I think I will consider Final Fix in Melbourne. I don't trust Red Bull or McLaren not to sandbag during practice. Interesting. Final Fix is a chip you can obviously play during the first week. You can only play 3 of the 4 chips, I think. You can play 4 of the 6 chips. Sorry. Autopilot, no negative, 3x boost, and Final Fix. You just can't play Final Fix yet because qualifying hasn't happened. But I like the strategy, Nigel Cram. Always going different. Love it. Let's see here. Who is the worst driver that's not Lindblad or Cadillac, and worst team that's not Aston Martin or Cadillac? Right now, not a big fan of Williams because their Formula Fantasy Hub was saying earlier today 20 kilograms overweight is the report. So that's not good. But the worst driver that's not Lindblad or Cadillac. Oh, I'm probably going to upset some people with this answer. Well, the worst driver's Stroll. That's a pretty easy one. But if you say, and I can't use Aston Martin as the drivers, just because I haven't seen it, I'd say Colapinto. Biggest tip for budget building? B tier constructor. Like, just go look at all these points. These guys need to score 8 points by themselves. These guys need to score 8 points with 2 drivers and qualifying points. Seems pretty easy, right? B tier drivers or tier B constructors to oh my goodness, to grow budget. Okay. No negative for Melbourne because I predicted that at least 4 different teams will have a DNF due to reliability. I was thinking about it. If the weather was kind of dicey, I'd be more likely to do it. But I still think no negative in China is an okay play. I was thinking Lewis, but a lot of people are going to Leclerc. Or would you change Russell for Piastri or Lando? Would you stay away from McLaren this weekend? I would stay away from McLaren this weekend unless they show us something phenomenal and they've just been sandbagging the entire preseason. But for right now, with 5 hours to go until free practice 1, I would stay away from McLaren. Honestly, it's a bit of a shame with Williams because they were aiming to start off 26 particularly strong. No, yes, they were, and it is not coming to fruition. And Papa Vowels might be a little bit under pressure. And I have caught up to the chat. Who will score the most F1 fantasy points this weekend? Russell, Verstappen, Leclerc, or other? Russell 43%, Verstappen 40%. Can you even build a team with those two? I'm not sure. Shall we see, just for one final exercise? Bing, bang, boom. Bing, bang. Huh. Don't do it, Ewan. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're gonna fall in love. Gonna fall in love with this lineup. Crap! I did it. I fell in love with the lineup. Russell, Verstappen, Behrman, Ocon, Colapinto, Haas, and Alpine. Uh-oh. I'm just gonna hit continue. I'm just gonna have that. I'm just gonna have that there. Let's just have that. I like it. That's interesting. Do you think a 2 tier B constructor is viable? I just built it and I think it's very viable. I think having one of the McLarens is fine just in case they do well. Rate my team. Should I go to Meta, Bottas, Perez, Bortoleto, Colapinto, Leclerc, Mercedes, Ferrari? Can you improve? Yeah, you can't improve anything there, huh? I mean, you could go Lindblad, but you're maxed out. I just don't love this structure of that. I don't love the structure of that. It looks good on paper, but for China, I'm not a huge fan of that, the Zap. So thank you for submitting your team, but I think that's where I'd be at. Nano4444-D4B. Do you think Russell plus Mercedes and Alpine could be a good pick if the Mercedes power unit is good on free practice plus the 2 Haas drivers, Colapinto and Bottas? Yeah, I think flipping over to a Mercedes Alpine build is going to be more expensive than Ferrari Haas, but you can make that work. No Bottas, now his grid penalty is gone, asked Tom. Yes, I agree. Honestly, I've got 2 X Leclerc right now, but if Mercedes looks particularly good in free practice, I might cave. I agree. I like your new second team the most. Kind of aggressive on podium points. Have you done the F1 predict? Oh, crap. Yes. God, thank you. Okay, before I get out of here. Jeez. I even said I was going to do F1 predict. All right. Let's do season predictions first. All right, I've got Russell, Verstappen, Norris as my top 3 in the Drivers' Championship. Who will take the 2026 Constructors' Championship? I've got Mercedes. Which driver will score the most Grand Prix pole positions? I'm going to go with Max because he did it last year in probably a worse car. I think I'm going to activate on that. That seems like a safe bet. How many first-time Grand Prix winners will we see? I think only Antonelli is going to win a Grand Prix, who's brand new this year, because Piastri's got one, Hamilton, Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell's won, Antonelli hasn't won. I don't think Hadjar's going to get a win. Piastri, Norris have both won. Sainz has won a race. I just don't think anyone else. I mean, Bottas, Perez have both won some. Alonso's won one. Like, I think it's just going to be one. I think it's going to be Antonelli. Who wins the Grand Prix qualifying head-to-head at Cadillac this season? I think that's Bottas. I think he's a better qualifier. Which team will set the fastest pit stop of the season? I think that's going to be Ferrari. Who will win the DHL fastest lap award this year? I think that's going to be Antonelli. Which team comes out on top in the constructors battle? I'm going to go with Alpine over Audi. And when will the Drivers' Championship be decided? I'm just going to go with Abu Dhabi, because why not? And will 2026 see a new Drivers' Crown champion? Yes, I think so. I think it's going to be Russell, but it could be Antonelli and it could be Piastri. And those odds are pretty good. So those are my predictions for the season. Here is Australia. I'm going to go Russell, Leclerc, Verstappen for the podium. Which driver takes pole position? I'm going to go with Russell. Which driver qualifies highest? I'm going with Gasly over Sainz. How many teams will get a driver into Q3? I said 6. I think it's going to be the top 4. I think they're going to get into the top 8. All 4 of those drivers are going to get, or all 8 of those drivers are going to get in. And then I'm going to back Ollie Behrman and Pierre Gasly to be the 6th team, the 5th and 6th team. Which team will set the fastest pit stop? Going to go Ferrari. Who will set the fastest lap of the race? Going to go George Russell. Who scores the most points? It's going to be Alpine over Audi. Where will Isaac Hadjar finish? 4th to 10th. Feels pretty good. And will the safety car or VSC be required during the first 5 laps of the race? I'm going to say no, because I think Aston Martin's just going to pull into the pits. And how many classified finishers? I'm going to say 19. We're going to get 2 DNFs from Aston Martin and 1 DNF only on the rest of the track. I actually don't have a league this year. Oh, wait, I do have a league. Oops. My bad. I probably should share that. Or I could just not and just win the league. That would make me feel better about myself. And that's it. That is F1 Predicts. Sorry, I said I was going to do that and I totally spaced. F1 Predicts shows Russell, Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton as the 4 faves. Who is the best beach start but not Alpine? That's going to be Haas, Frosty Stormer. How many Mad Lads do you think will pick an Aston for Australia? God, I hope 0 for everyone's mental health. But we could just go check the ownership right now. Stroll 4%, Alonso 14%. I'm hoping that's just people on auto teams, and Aston Martin at 4%. What else have we got? What about Russell, Max, Behrman, Ocon, Hadjar, Haas Racing, and Racing Bulls? 1.4 left. Yes, I just built a team with that. Is Bottas 5 positions grip play has been removed? It has been removed, and I don't think he's as good of an option anymore, Nano. My dream would be an Albon win, but yeah, I don't know. Thanks, Mac. I'll have to change it, you bet. Thoughts on Verstappen ×2, Leclerc, Colapinto, Lindblad, and Bortoleto with Ferrari and Haas? Haven't seen that lineup too much, Martin, and it does raise my eyebrow a little bit. It makes me a little bit intrigued. I'm not gonna lie. But that is for a different day. I've already gone 20 minutes longer than I thought the stream was going to go, but you guys have just been so great. So yes, one last time, don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching on delay. You can use promo code POLL50 for 50% off your F1 Fantasy Tools membership. If you sign up right now, you're going to get the first 3 races of the season for 50% off. So that would be great. George Russell has won 46% of the votes to who will score the most F1 Fantasy points this weekend. And YouTube membership, one last time. 2 days to go until that locks. If you want to get into the prize leagues, early access to videos, all that fun stuff. I do not have an FPL league, Frosty Stormer, because after this week in FPL, I should just give up. Awful. Oh, charity league. Yes, thank you, Mark. In the description below, there's the charity league. Thank you. Let's go to forms. Where are we at? And there's this charity league that I've set up for the Root Ray Spinal Trust. And they help people who have been affected by spinal cord injury. So pretty much all you have to do is email, name, pick 2 tier A drivers, Pick one Tier B driver, pick two Tier C drivers. Also, LOL at the Tier B drivers being Albon, Sainz, Alonso, and Stroll. This was made in January, so don't bite my head off. Pick an A tier constructor and then a B tier or B or C tier constructor. Haas, Alpine, Cadillac, Racing Bulls, Audi all score 1.5 points. We've got 37 people in there. I'd love it to get to 40 or even 50 by the time the Australian Grand Prix comes along, because that is the deadline for this charity league, because all you have to do is pick those 5 drivers, those 2 constructors, and then I do the maths for the remainder of the season, and then I will let you know every 6 races where you are at in reference to the rest of the league. And it's going to be super fun. It's all for a good cause. So click that link in the description below and help the Root Brace Spinal Trust Foundation out a little bit. Thank you, Mark. Massive shout out to you, sir. That was clutch. And what F1 team do you support and favorite team? McLaren. Papaya. I was there before it was trendy. And that will do it for this stream. So yes, I'll be back in 9 hours with another F1 Fantasy episode talking about my final thoughts for FP2 from the Australian Grand Prix and where I'm thinking for my F1 Fantasy team before the Australian Grand Prix deadline. I have a 2-hour deadline stream, Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. I hope you guys can join me there. And also after the Grand Prix on Sunday morning, 1 hour after the Grand Prix, race review episode. So come and commiserate or celebrate with me in the chat there. But that's going to do it for this episode. And I'll be back tomorrow. So once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I will talk to you next time.